Do you have something inspiring to say? Have you always known that your voice can contribute to the world? Is now the time? Yes, now is the time. The world is waiting for you. Welcome to the Inspired Choices Network Open Mic Spotlight Show. Today, we have an inspiring guest who is ready to share their voice with the world. Now, on to the show.
All right. I love that music. Welcome, everyone. I am the host of the Open Mic Spotlight Show today. My name is Christine McIver, and I am so happy that you've all planned to come and play and join and learn all about my unique, exciting speaker today. She is none other than Lisa Benitz. Lisa and I are going to dive into all things about Lisa and what she is creating in the world, her ideas, her messages, and anything else that comes up. So if you have any questions, if you would like to come play, come on over to inspiredchoicesnetwork.com. You can join us in the chat room, or you can just listen to the listen button and play with us there. So Lisa Benitz embodies kindness and caring and isn't afraid to show up even when you are. She has over 20 years' experience as a Feng Shui Master, interior decorator, writer, personal coach, public speaker, and an Access Consciousness certified facilitator, body process facilitator, right body, right relationship for you facilitator. I call her the the spaces whisperer. Lisa Benitz's gifts allows her to see through the mounds of accumulation to the pure essence of what each individual desires. This helps them transform their relationships, which in turn can improve their finances, career, and health. Lisa's journey has inspired others to not be negatively affected by their past, their culture, geographical location, or current situation. Instead, she gives them the tools to know that they create a brighter future. She loves to empower others. Welcome, Lisa, to the show.
Wow, thank you, Christine. Yes, the space whisperer.
I think you need to put that into your bio because you are, and this is not necessarily only buildings. You are a space whisperer. You're space between somebody's body, space between somebody's challenges. I've seen you in action. You're brilliant.
Aw, thank you. Well, it lights me up when we start talking about the word spaces and what it can mean to various people, different people. And wow, thank you for that intro. It's something that I have pushed away, tried to hide, and it keeps rearing its head and pushing me and literally pushing me into playing with more and more spaces around the world. And literally as I released that in the last, I would say the last 6 months, I've really sort of stepped into wanting to explore and play more with spaces. Magic has started to show up, and clients and basically countries have stepped forward and said, we're asking for you to come, and would you come and play? And one of them right now is India, which I've been chatting with for about 6 months, and they are so excited to have me come and play. I've got a couple of architects who are aware, and not only architects, but realtors and interior designers, anyone that loves to play with spaces, see the value of playing with spaces on an energetic level.
That's so cool. So,
yeah.
Okay, so before you get into all that, hold on. Let's back the truck up a little bit. So, Lisa, let's start with where were you born, where were you raised, and where are you now?
I was born in Toronto, Ontario, Canada, and grew up outside of Toronto. It used to be the country. It was called Mississauga, which is actually where you reside. When I lived there, it was in an area that was full of apple orchards. And I'm the youngest of a family of 4. And my father and mother both had this curiosity of going to auctions and flea markets on weekends and buying really interesting things. My father was born in Argentina. My mother was a first-generation Canadian. Her mother was born in Turkey, raised in Greece with British engineer. Her father was a British engineer who built all these phenomenal bridges and things around the world. And so she arrived in Canada as a 14-year-old, my grandmother, but very English in her upbringing. And so I always was surrounded by some really interesting items that were either from Argentina. My dad's family originated in the early 1800s from Germany. They ended up in California and then in Argentina, and then finally my dad came to Canada in his, I guess, early 20s after Perron came into power. So there was a lot of curiosity of just different things, and he loved history, and so sort of under his tutelage and my mother's tutelage, they'd go to auctions, and I was one of these I was the kid that just kind of tagged along, and I just got curious with things and items, and I started picking up the energy of not only the items and the objects that would come home to our house and we'd refinish, but I was also really intrigued by some of the interesting spaces we'd go into, and the houses would talk to me, and when I say talk, it was energetically. I was just really aware of things, and I was aware of entities, spirits, ghosts, whatever you want to call them as a little girl. Yeah.
Okay, so hold on. People are like, pardon? All right. So first of all, when you said you started to pick up the energy, let's put that in layman's terms. What does that look like for some of us who have no idea what energy is?
Okay, so have you ever walked into a home and you just felt really icky or heavy or depressed or sad, and you didn't really understand why? It had a musty smell. It felt old. It felt like you just wanted to open every window up and just give it a good old So that's kind of what I call the funky energy of a space. And then you have places that you walk into and you don't want to leave because they just feel so yummy and they light you up, and your whole body kind of goes, ooh, I love this. And it's kind of like it can be either like a big cozy hug where you just want to curl up and cuddle by the fire, or it could be just this really light, energetic room. Sorry, I'm going to have a quick cough here.
Okay. Bless you. So when you're talking about, I get it now. When we walk into a space and we get a feeling, like we're picking something up. Most of us will use the word feeling, and I know that in some of the body work that you and I do, we talk about we sense things. So we're sensing the energy of the space. Okay, so I get that. Now, when you're a little child, how were you picking up the energy? Were you picking up the energy of the antiques, or were you picking up the energy of the homes? Or
all
both?
Of it. So excellent question. So I just remember there were some spaces that I would walk into and I didn't want to be there, and I remember pulling on my mother's hand and sort of, as a little child, my earliest memory was 3. So I didn't really necessarily have the words, and thankfully I had a mother who was really tuned in to me, and you know, looking back, I'm pretty sure she was pretty psychic in her way. And so we wouldn't necessarily spend a lot of time in the space. And so that was initially just the picking up the energy, and it could have been even the people. Now, fast forward as I grew up, I had obviously my own voice, and I could remove myself from places and spaces that were perhaps just not feeling fun or light. And even with the friends that I had in my life, oftentimes, you meet these new friends at school, and then you go to their homes and you can get a download of information about the family. At least this is what I have the capacity to do, is I would never have to meet the mother and the father and the siblings, but I could always understand that things weren't as they seemed, even though the house might have looked perfect, like a showroom.
Okay, so you would walk into a home, and although everything was pretty, you knew that there was unrest in the relationships?
Yes.
Oh, very cool.
I could sense that the family unit wasn't a happy unit, that there was what I would call a hidden secret. And it's really interesting, as I'm talking to you about this, it's really interesting what comes up is I was the one that everybody would come to and talk to, and I had this capacity to be able to just pull information out of people that they'd never shared with anyone else. And it was just that. It was sort of like people would tell me their life story, or their parents were alcoholics, or their father was abusive, or
right.
And I had already picked the energy up. So the way that I was with these different friends over the years was just being kind and caring, and being willing to just be with them, and knowing when they weren't feeling safe maybe in their space, that they always had a space within my home and within my room. It was sort of an unwritten thing, and I didn't actually do it from any other place except that was my natural way of being.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's very cool. Wow. This is fascinating. Now, for many of our listeners listening today, whether you know Lisa and I separately or together, just to let you know, Lisa and I have known each other for a number of years now. Unfortunately, she had already left the Mississauga, Toronto area when I moved into the area. But this is fascinating to me because although you and I have talked many times, what you're sharing with me right now is very new to me. So I love that. I love that when I'm interviewing people that I even know how new things come up. And it's exciting to hear your experience, Lisa, of what you're aware of, what you perceive, and now you identify as a gift that you have polished and shined and you are presenting in the world. So I absolutely love that. So
thank you.
We're going to go for our first break in just a second. And when we come back, Lisa, I'd really like to get into where you are today with this particular capacity, this particular gift, and how you utilize it in your life and in your business. Because what I'm really aware of is a lot of people like yourself have these capacities, but they're maybe not acknowledging them, and they don't even know, like, what's the use of doing that, right? What's the use of paying attention to that or bringing that into the world, or how can that actually assist me? So when this started to come about for you when you were young, it's about spaces. So a lot of people say, well, logically she should go into this career. You do a lot of different things, and I'm curious to know how you use that capacity in all areas. So everyone, please stay tuned. You are listening to the Open Mic Spotlight Show here on the Inspired Choices Network station, and we will be right back with our wonderful guest, Lisa Benitz, in just a moment.
Do you have something inspiring to say? Would you like a taste of being one of our inspired hosts? Get on the air on the Inspired Choices Network Open Mic Spotlight Show. The Open Mic Spotlight Show is your time to shine and inspire our global audience. Shows air at 9 a.m. on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday each week. Claim your spotlight today. Simply contact our network owner at info@inspiredchoicesnetwork.com. Forget the days of 5 minutes of fame. Now you can have 55 minutes of fame.
Have you ever wanted to know how you can choose an amazing life and to be in the space of thrival instead of survival? Are you ready to move beyond the confines of your life? Have you always known that there was another way of living in this world beyond just existing? How about an open conversation that gives you immediate ways to remove the emotional and physical baggage you have carried around with you for years? Listen to Infinite Energies Radio Show every Friday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 11 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Mountain, 9 a.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
You are listening to the Open Mic Spotlight Show here on Inspired Choices Network. To call in and ask a question, call 1-855-880-8255 in the U.S., 613-800-8736 in Canada, or Skype us at Inspired Choices Network. Now back to the show.
All right, welcome back, everyone. You are listening to the Open Mic Spotlight Show with your host, Christine McIver, and my wonderful guest, Lisa Benitz, who is speaking with us through the internet. This is how we do our shows, which is very, very cool. And it is on the InspiredChoicesNetwork.com website. If you would like to connect with us, you can come on over there, click on the chat room, join us in the chat room. You can always email myself, Christine, at inspiredchoices.ca, or Lisa Benitz at lisa@infiniteenergies.ca. And Lisa's website is infiniteenergies.ca. So, Lisa, let's get back into the conversation about energies. Your business name is Infinite Energies. So tell me, as best you can, what is, for you, what is Infinite Energies?
Oh, thank you. Okay, so this came to me, I would say the name of my business came to me probably about 5 years ago, maybe even 6. And it was me being aware of everything we touch. The chair we're sitting on, the car we drive in, the airplane we travel in, the train we go in, the shoes we walk in, the clothing we wear, everything is energetically, it's just energetically connected. And whether the desk that we sit at, that would be considered sort of something that is what I would call, you can touch, you can feel. And then there's the molecules that just float around out there that are touching and floating around. And so I've always felt connected wherever I am in the world, whenever I travel. And so I think of everything as being infinite, that it's never ending. So, you know, I've had people say to me, Lisa, you travel with your work. I facilitate classes, I coach, and I have a specialty class called Creating Conscious Spaces that just came into being back in 2012, 13. And it's me playing with the energy of spaces and just showing people wherever you are in the world, whatever religion, whatever culture, whatever, male, female, child, that the energy of spaces contributes so much to our life and our being, our joy, our happiness, and can open up so much with regard to businesses, relationships, money, health. And so the infinite energies just was sort of encompassing all energies. It wasn't defined by one particular energy, and I really truly believe that energy is just not something you can enclose or encapsulate. It's just all there every day, and all you have to do is choose to tap into it. So, it's exciting, it's fun, it's and it's something that when you get out of this mindset of being defined and everything, it just really, it's like relaxing. It's stepping into this really relaxed space and playful space when you can play with energy.
Okay, very, very cool. Now, tell me first of all about your space whispering capacities as it pertains to physical buildings.
Okay, so thank you. I actually went down the road of trying to define what that was, and I studied interiors and decorating and working with renovations and new builds and different homes and realtors with staging, trying to define it. And then I studied something called Feng Shui, which is the placement of items within a space and or adjusting and manipulating the energy within a space. And beyond that, I also was aware that there was something that didn't have to have a name to it. So space whispering was gifted to me a number of years ago by a friend, and I sort of laughed, and then I went, well, actually, that is what if I have to define it, it's the ability to go into a building, whether it's a downtown office building, walking through a city that I've never walked into before, and actually beyond what you read in a travel guide or beyond what you may or may have heard about the people that live in a home, I actually prefer not to know a lot of information and really just listen to the energy of what pops up for me. And when I do that, the walls of a home or the walls of a building have previous memory from the previous occupants that were there. And so it's
wait a minute, whoa. Wait a minute. Say that again.
So if you are buying a home, let's say it's a 100-year-old home, there is information within that home that has been imprinted in the walls of the home, in the floors of the home, in the ceiling of the home. It's imprinted energy that has been left over. It's like residual, like a layer of dust. If it's never been dusted and you look at the layers of dust on a piece of furniture, each layer represents a different month, a year, a different occurrence. So let's say in one family there was a lot of arguments, in another family there was a lot of illness, and on and on and on. And so if there was one family that was really happy, another family that there was a lot of tragedy, the layering of that energy actually is imprinted in the space. So various people
that's
over
just
the years.
Cool. I just want to say that is really cool.
Well, and whether people believe or not, and really it's not even you don't even have to go into believing, there is an energetic, what I call an energetic footprint. It's like leftover residual. It's like if you never washed a glass out and you kept drinking from the same glass, well, eventually there's going to be gunk that's going to build up on the sides of the glass. It's the same within spaces. So what I love to do when I walk into a space is work with the family, the people, the business, and clear the energy from what was previously there and start to imprint what it is the family is desiring or the business is desiring going forward. And even for those people that have what I call raw land, where they're building a house or an office building, there's still an imprinting of what occurred in the land from hundreds of years ago. So if you have...
Sorry, Lisa. Go ahead. It's interesting because that imprinting in the land, in my mind, is easier to justify, understand, get than imprinting in a building. And yet I know that everything is energy. So just you kind of saying that about the land, you know, I remember when I built a home in Guelph, and I was told there was some funky stuff that was going on in that home. And I was told, well, you do know that you built on a, I forget how many years old it was, but this was actually a North American Indian land. Mm-hmm. And so the energy of that is still there. And it took me a little while to get my head around it. But I get it now. I get that. And I'm starting to step into that the energy in the homes, what really landed was when you said it was like dust. That's very, mm-hmm. very cool. So how do you communicate with these places? Do you have to physically be in someone's home? Like when we walk into a home, we pick up the sense of the home. Do you have to physically be there, Lisa? Or is that something that you can do without physically being in someone's home?
Well, thank you. Actually, the cool thing about that my capacity that has really I've acknowledged more and more is, and honestly, Christine, I just sort of shrugged it off like it was no big deal until more and more people have said, oh my God, when you spoke to me about my house or my second home or my business, after mm-hmm. speaking to you, do you realize what I changed just subtly, and it shifted everything in my life? A new relationship, or my business increased by $30,000. I mean, I have a client whose business increased by $30,000 in 1 month, and it was so much fun because you did what? Because I don't have to be there. It's literally the moment that somebody connects with me, mm-hmm. the energy of that connection is in connecting me to their space. And most people, when they reach out and connect with me, they're believing that, oh, I need Lisa to come and fix something with regard to my space. Oftentimes, the space is the one that's ringing me energetically, like tapping out and talking to the owner and saying, please, I think Lisa, somehow it pops up on their news feed, on their email, their Facebook account that Lisa Benitz has shown up, and they're like, I think I should listen to this radio or whatever is going on. And they say, oh, I'd like to meet her, or I'd like to talk to her. Well, it's actually the energetic connection with their space that's saying, hey, I really, really would like you to come and work with my owner because they're messed up about, their relationship or their health or their business is going downhill, and so from that, I've seen some really magical things, and I can do it over the telephone, Skype, or Zoom, where I meet with the client and I can start chatting with them. I ask them questions, and mm-hmm. it can be 15 minutes, half an hour, or a whole hour. I mean, whatever is required. And sometimes those 2 or 3 questions can release and have them acknowledge something that they never were willing to acknowledge.
Very cool. Okay, we are going to go for a quick break. And when we come back, I have some specific questions for you. And we're going to dive more into this capacity that you have. And I'd also like to hear about what you're creating in the world as well. So everyone, you are listening to the Open Mic Spotlight Show here on the Inspired Choices radio station. And my guest here today is Lisa Benitz. And we are talking about all things Lisa. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Do you have something inspiring to say? Would you like a taste of being one of our inspired hosts? Get on the air on the Inspired Choices Network Open Mic Spotlight Show. The Open Mic Spotlight Show is your time to shine and inspire our global audience. Shows air at 9 a.m. on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday each week. Claim your spotlight today. Simply contact our network owner at info@inspiredchoicesnetwork.com. Forget the days of 5 minutes of fame. Now you can have 55 minutes of fame.
It starts with a healthy immune system. Having a strong immune system is linked to healthier aging, resistance to health challenges, and giving you an edge on major health issues. Immunical is a natural source of glutathione precursor. Glutathione is the master antioxidant providing special proteins supplying your cells with master building blocks to make glutathione. Glutathione is your body's most powerful protector and healing agent. It protects you from bacteria, viruses, toxins, pollutants, and disease. Immunical is recognized as a patented natural product. Call Lisa Benitz at infiniteenergies.ca today to get your Immunical.
You are listening to the Open Mic Spotlight Show here on Inspired Choices Network. To call in and ask a question, call 1-855-880-8255 in the U.S., 613-800-8736 in Canada, or Skype us at Inspired Choices Network. Now back to the show.
Welcome back, everyone. Thank you so much for sticking around, or if you're just joining us, welcome, welcome, welcome. So today on the Open Mic Spotlight Show, I have an amazing guest. Her name is Lisa Benitz. This woman is many, many things in the world. Least of not, she is a very dear friend of mine. And I love doing these interviews because I learn more about people, even very close dear friends of mine, that I otherwise wouldn't have known. When I'm actually doing an interview, like Lisa has a capacity with energies, with buildings and bodies, I have a capacity to tap into what wants to be said on a radio show. So how does it get any better than that? And before we went to break, Lisa was talking to us about her capacity with tapping into people's homes and how she doesn't physically need to be in the home. She can do that whether she's on the phone or through Skype or through Zoom or some technology across the airwaves. So that's very, very cool. So my question to you, Lisa, and Lisa doesn't know any of the questions I'm going to ask her, by the way. My question to you, Lisa, is what is my home saying to you?
Oh, wow. Okay. Put me on the spot, Christine. I love it.
Yeah,
okay.
So my light show.
So I would say walking up to the front entrance of your home, it's asking for more love by the front entrance. And when I say more love and attention, a little bit more of an acknowledgement is what it's asking for. That's the first thing that speaks to me.
Cool.
And really the doorway to your home is really what attracts people. So why is your home unique to everyone else within your community, and what draws people to want to come to your home? And so and your home is always going to be a reflection of everything that goes on in your life. It's like an X-ray. So if you are choosing to stand out or blend in life, then create your front entrance accordingly. If your business is just blending in with all the other businesses at whatever your business is, and that's all you're desiring, then your business will blend. But if your business is asking to stand out, if your relationships with creating a yummy man in your life, or if you are in relationship with whoever that is in your life, and you want to create some more dynamic, creative, fun energy, then your front entrance is where it begins. What you have in the driveway, repairing things, the lighting, you can create a different look if you're even within a home like where I live. All my neighbors, every other house is red and white door. I still stand out based on what I create with the pots, and I decorate my pots year round. So it's subtle, and it can be really creative and really fun. And then behind that front door is really, as you walk in, is your front entrance cluttered, or is it really inviting? Is there room to move around? Is there a place for everything? And then just acknowledging and loving our spaces as though if you enjoy getting dressed up for an event, why would you not look at dressing your home up in the same beautiful way every day? Acknowledge that with fresh flowers. Eliminate the dead things. A lot of people like to hold on to the dead flowers, the dried arrangements. And I know that popped for you at some point, Christine, that you had some dead flowers and you eliminated those. So that goes even to the exterior pots having dead flowers in them. It's like refreshing. It's like when you get your hair done, you're refreshing your look. Do we let our gray roots grow in until they're 2 inches, and then finally someone says, a really good friend going, it's time to get your gray roots covered. Or if you're going for the whole gray look, then get your hair, like take the color out and just go all gray, like whatever that is for you. It's the same, just acknowledging. You don't go out of the house half dressed with just a pair of pants on and you forget your top. It's the same with your home. You don't go halfway with things. You really look at each room individually, and then collectively, is it something that speaks to the energy of what I'm desiring in my life? And I mean, each room has an energy. Each room defines what's going on in that particular space. And sometimes we can have a room that's multi-use, which is totally fine, as long as you have a space and a place for things so that you can allow the room to breathe and you to breathe and move around. It's sort of like, overflowing. If your garage is overflowing and there isn't a space for your car, there isn't a space for a tool, there isn't a light bulb that's in the socket. It's all of that is energy and shifting. There's so much, Christine. So it starts with the front entrance. That's what your home is asking for.
Okay, cool.
Before I'd really even sort of started to play with all the other rooms, there would be some questions, but that is asking to be addressed.
Well, it's an interesting thing that you bring up. My home has 2 entrances. The main entrance that's utilized is what would look like is the back entrance. Okay, so this is where the driveway is, the garage is, and there is an overhang with the deck above. And so there's not a lot of space there. There's not a lot of ability to create a lot there. And then the other entrance is actually facing a street and not something that is actually utilized. People don't come in and out that door in any of the locations here. I think it's just where the building is located. So which entrance are you speaking to, Lisa? Are you speaking to the one where the driveway is? Or are you speaking to
the one that you, even though from an architectural standpoint you have a defined front entrance and a defined back entrance, it's the one that you come and go on a daily basis with.
Okay. All right. So that would be the back
specifically, entrance. Yeah. So specifically, I'm speaking to your space. So everyone else's space is going to be different. However, you keep calling it the back entrance. What if you energetically flipped that around and started to acknowledge that as the main entrance to your home?
Yes.
So it's
I just wanted to say structurally what it was.
Yeah. Okay. So even though it has a definition, we can redefine the space. So we want to work with what we know works for you on a daily basis. So every time you look at coming in through your back door, where in your life have you created the back door for your business, the back door for your relationships, the back door for... So would you be willing to now let that whole definition go and start to acknowledge that that is actually the main entrance and gift it? Yeah, so gift it that. And even though you have this point of view that you have an overhang and there's restrictions, you can still sexify that front entrance. I love that word. I love to use that word. It's just, it's an invitation. It's like a Christmas present. Out of all the homes in your community, what makes yours stand out and what can you create? If you can't paint, put some pots and really not a little wussy pot on the ground, but actually get something that really stands up and you can change the decor, the way that you acknowledge the different seasons, because you live in Canada, you have the different seasons, and you can play with it. So now, we're going into January. The next month is February, so you can do sort of a winter/spring arrangement in a beautiful pot out front. And so you have people coming and going all the time. They're going to look to the place with the new arrangement in that pot they're going to go, oh, I wonder what Christine's doing this month. What's her color scheme? What's this? And it can just shift it up, and it makes it, when you come to your front door, you're going to be going, oh, this is inviting, it's welcoming me. And that's just one element.
That's very cool.
Thank you. Your home starts to love you back.
That's awesome. Now, we don't need to spend all of this time because you and I could talk about my space forever and ever. Amen. And I would love to. And I would like people to know more about you. So, Lisa, we're going to go for a break in just a couple of minutes. But before we do, tell me how you use this capacity with businesses.
So I have had businesses call me up and say, so I've heard about you, and many times business owners are curious, and oftentimes their arms might be slightly crossed until I walk, and I've had the ability to, be able to walk into their space. And if I don't, then I ask some pretty specific questions. And what is it that they're desiring is number one. Most business owners, it comes down to the relationship with their employees. It also comes down to the money. And so those two are very connected. And so they're perhaps not creating the income, the for the company, the revenue. And so I talk a little bit about what's the environment that the staff are working in. And so when we start to talk to the staff, then I ask, is it okay for me to chat with some of the staff? Because business owners have a point of view. It comes down to bottom line. This is how it should be. And how I approach it is, if you're truly interested in increasing the revenue, then you need to be open to me connecting with some of the key people within the company. And it could be everything from the receptionist to the person that's behind the cubicle, because they actually are the heartbeat, the pulse of what's going on in the company. When I have that opportunity to chat with them, then a whole bunch of information starts to come to light, and that's when I am able to share with the owner what things can be shifted and changed that would create a really, really gorgeous space that gets people excited about going to work. Oftentimes people have the same look, the same color scheme, and there's no individuality and people are spending their biggest waking hours in those office spaces. And if my space looks identical to somebody else's, or it's facing the wrong direction for that individual, it's not working, they're a left-handed person as opposed to a right-handed. There's so many different pieces that need to be looked at and can be changed without spending a lot of money. And
very cool.
That's you have happy employees and a happy space to go to work in. It's amazing how revenue can be brought up with ease.
With ease. So I like that. Okay, we're gonna go to our next break. When we get back, we're gonna wrap up with some more fun questions for Lisa. You are listening to the Open Mic Spotlight Show with my guest Lisa Benitz, and we will be right back.
Do you have something inspiring to say? Would you like a taste of being one of our inspired hosts? Get on the air on the Inspired Choices Network Open Mic Spotlight Show. The Open Mic Spotlight Show is your time to shine and inspire our global audience. Shows air at 9 a.m. on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday each week. Claim your spotlight today. Simply contact our network owner at info@inspiredchoicesnetwork.com. Forget the days of 5 minutes of fame. Now you can have 55 minutes of fame.
Have you ever wanted to know how you can choose an amazing life and to be in the space of thrival instead of survival? Are you ready to move beyond the confines of your life? Have you always known that there was another way of living in this world beyond just existing? How about an open conversation that gives you immediate ways to remove the emotional and physical baggage you have carried around with you for years? Listen to Infinite Energy's radio show every Friday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 11 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Mountain, 9 a.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
You are listening to the Open Mic Spotlight Show here on Inspired Choices Network. To call in and ask a question, call 1-855-880-8255 in the U.S., 613-800-8736 in Canada, or Skype us at Inspired Choices Network. Now back to the show.
All right, welcome back, everyone. You are listening to the Open Mic Spotlight Show with my guest, Lisa Benitz. So, Lisa, before we went to the show, we were talking about your capacity with spaces. You also facilitate different classes. You have a Creating Conscious Spaces classes. I know that. Where will people be able to connect with you for that class next? Where are you doing that next?
Actually, here in Calgary, which is where I reside now, Calgary, Alberta in Canada, I have one at the end of the month. So on the 28th and 29th, is Saturday, Sunday, I have a Creating Conscious Spaces class. Of January, correct. And then I will also be facilitating in March in West Palm Beach, Florida, at an incredible, gorgeous space. And it will most likely, based on weather and all wonderful things considering, most likely be spent outside. And that'll be a really fun class. And then Swift Current, Saskatchewan, and then off to India, looking like April is the time frame. And I have a possible 3-city invitation in India. There's quite a few different places that are asking for me. So that is the universe is asking, and I'm off to play. I'm going, and stay tuned. There will be more. there will be more. Yeah.
Now, you also do the classes of Access Consciousness, the Bars class, and the Foundation class. Do you have any of those coming up in the near future?
Thank you. Yes. This weekend, Foundation here in Calgary. In February, I will be in Edmonton, which is north of Calgary in Alberta, the 24th to the 27th of February, and then in Swift Current, Saskatchewan in April, and who knows where else? India. Actually, I'm co-facilitating with a lady in India as well. So India's going to be
so cool.
A fun and busy time for me.
That's awesome. That is so fantastic. Okay, so we've only got 5 minutes left in the show. I cannot believe how quickly this went. So people can connect with you at infiniteenergies.ca or Lisa at infiniteenergies.ca or your Facebook page, Infinite Energies. You're also on Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, like you're all over the place, so you can't miss it. Or come to the Inspired Choices Network page and find Lisa Benitz on the Infinite Energies radio show. So that's one thing. Okay, so before we finish up, I've got a couple of questions that I'm asking all of my guests. So Lisa, tell me what inspiration is to you. And we have 4 minutes.
Okay. So inspiration for me is actually, and it's funny, I've been thinking about this in the last, since Christmas time, and the people in my life that have inspired me, it's the people that inspire me. I would say I'm a mother of 2 who are young adults, and they inspire me. My mother, she died when I was young. She was an inspiration in her way that she embraced life, even when she was going through her dying. I found her to always look at everything as the glass as being half full. And then just when I meet really interesting people throughout my travels, I love to hear people's stories of their journey in life, and I'm inspired by that. It really lifts me to know that choosing is something we have the ability to do on a daily basis, and never to get stuck or have that sense of being stuck in a choiceless reality. It's I've had some challenges in my life, and I am inspired by those before me, and know that there's many people that have walked down this path, and there will be many more. And if I could be an inspiration to women, to men, to children who know that life can be joyful and fun, and that there's so much out there in the universe, and we're all connected. So for me to be inspired by the places that I travel to, the spaces that I have been graced to walk into, the land that I've been able to walk on, ride a horse on, walk my dog on.
Beautiful.
To me, that's what's inspirational. Living every day to the max.
Okay, we have 1 minute left for you to talk. Quick question, which I know it's not going to be quick, is what is your message to the world for 2017?
If you are sitting on the fence wondering what to do, I would suggest jump or leap and quit sitting on the fence. Just leap. Just go for it. That life is meant to be embraced, and for those that sit on the fence and watch the world go by, you're just going to be watching like a movie in front of you. Instead, get into the movie. Be a leading role in your movie of life.
I love that. Be a leading role in your life. That is fantastic. Lisa, you are a huge gift to people in the world. Your capacities and your willingness to really leap into your life is an inspiration to those of us who know you. And I really wish you much, much success in sharing what you know in the world. The world is gifted. It's a gift to the world to have you contribute what you know and to have you step into it. So thank you so much for joining me today. Have an amazing class this weekend. And, how much more play and fun can you have in the world, Lisa? So
thank you.
Everyone, you're welcome. Everyone connect with us again where we'll have another amazing guest on the Open Mic Spotlight Show.
Thank you for listening to the Open Mic Spotlight Radio Show. We will be here Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 8 a.m. Central, 7 a.m. Mountain, and 6 a.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. We hope you'll join us. Until then, continue to create you with joy and inspiration.